Hi Cancer and welcome to your horoscope for May 2025. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My horoscopes are based on the UK time zone, so please keep that in mind and watch them in this order. Rising sign first, then for your sun sign, and finally for your moon sign. So I'm going to break May down into 4 weeks. I'm going to pay particular attention to what the moon is doing, how it moves through your chart, which areas of life it supports you and when, so you get an idea of what May has in store for you. So starting with week 1, which isn't much of a week at all, it's 4 days, Thursday the 1st until Sunday the 4th of May. On the 1st of May, we have the moon in Gemini. And in your case, that is in your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength. And it's next to Jupiter, the lucky planet, also in Gemini in your 12th house. So you may get some message from Spirit, which is really like gold dust, a really beautiful, useful message that it would really benefit you to listen to, because it may be a message that allows you to transform your life in a way that you have wanted to, but have been unable to up until this point. Also on the 1st of May, we have Beltane, which is a Celtic festival. And it means that we're halfway between the spring equinox now and the summer solstice. And back in the day, this is when people would put the cattle back out onto the fields. They realized that the world was getting warmer and things were starting to blossom and to thrive and to flourish. And astrology is based on the northern hemisphere, but regardless of whether you're watching this in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, the energy is the same. Now, excuse my pronunciation, please. I have zero Farsi, which is a shame, really, because I think it's a beautiful language. There's something called Chahashanbi Suri, which is a fire festival that happened on the 18th of March this year. And it's the day before Nowruz, which is the Persian New Year. And it's this amazing festival which appeals to me so much. A little fire or a bigger fire is kind of created, and people are encouraged to jump over the fire. So it takes courage, it takes bravery to jump over this fire. And what you're doing symbolically is you're jumping into a new year. You're jumping into an unknown future. And what you're doing is you're jumping into this unknown with total willingness. You're totally committing to it, which is what's required for amazing, wonderful things to happen, because you're putting all your faith in this unknown, wonderful future, and you're using all of your strength and your willpower and your bravery into doing this. And also by jumping over the fire, you're burning away anything from the past. You're detoxing yourself, you're cleansing yourself, and you're leaving all of the negativity behind you. So I think it's a wonderful, wonderful kind of symbolic event. Then on the 2nd and 3rd of May, we've got the moon going into your sign of Cancer, and it joins Hades, which is in Cancer, also in your first house of self. So these 2 days are great for you to take care of yourself, your inner child, particularly things that you may be frustrated with yourself about. If you have experienced disappointments in the past, or you're not where you feel you ought to be, or you haven't made the physical kind of progress that you wanted to make. So maybe you've been going to the gym and trying to, create gains and whatever they call it, and you haven't built as much muscle as you have wanted. It's an opportunity to be kind to yourself, not to give up and to stop trying and to stop trying to grow and to build, but to really say, do you know what? There's certain things in life which aren't going to go to plan, and it's okay, and I love you anyway. and give yourself a pat on the back and maybe a little hug, and to say, I love you, Cancer. You're amazing. You try, you do your best, and I honor you for it. Then on the 4th, we've got the moon going into Leo, and it joins Mars, the planet of ambition and drive. That's also in Leo, in your second house of money. And the transiting ascendant, which is also known as the rising sign, that's at 22 degrees in Leo, in that third house of communication. So the 4th of May is a wonderful opportunity for you to take a risk when it comes to your finances. If there's a business opportunity that comes along and you have a bit of extra money to invest in something that you're interested in, do it if it's on the 4th. If there's an opportunity to present yourself in public and to ask for funds, to be at a fundraiser and to try and generate interest and real momentum, and to raise a ton of money, maybe for a charitable cause or for a new building to be built, anything like that. The 4th of May is your day to do that kind of thing. You come across really well, you are focused, you're fired up, you're motivated, you're energized, and you're really, your main focus is on, this is what I need to acquire in order to build something solid and permanent and worthwhile. Also on the 4th of May, Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, death and rebirth, that goes retrograde until the 13th of October. And when the outer planets like Pluto go retrograde, the energy is expressed inwardly rather than outwardly. And Pluto is in your 8th house of institutions and authorities. And for you, Cancer, this is a wonderful, wonderful event, because I think that between now and October, you're going to be much more free living. You're going to be less interested in following the rules, or you're going to be less afraid of the powers that be, the government, the tax people, of running your life. And you're going to be much more interested in running your own life and doing things which are interesting to you and making your own rules. So not necessarily getting yourself in trouble, with these authorities, but certainly getting yourself out from under their thumb and saying, I am not just a number and a national insurance number that gets to be taxed. I'm also a human being with hopes and dreams and desires, and I want to see sparks fly, and I want to have passion, and I want to build my own empire, and I want to make my own money, and I want to create something that feels like I have freedom in my life. Also, what's really important about May is that we have all the personal planets. We have Mercury, Venus, and Mars. They're direct all month, which is great news, because when it comes to communication and transportation, expect very few issues. Venus, when it comes to the ability to start new relationships or to give life to things that you're interested in, like to start a new business or to create a new creative venture, like to write the book or to paint the painting. That's all systems go. Mars, your ambition, your drive, it really makes you very unshy at this point in the year. It says, I'm not this delicate little flower that needs to hide in the background somewhere. I have power. I get to present my voice, my presence makes an impact. I have an influence on others, and I'm going to use that to acquire and to get what I want. And especially if there's anything to do with finances in connection with that, you're going to be very good at putting yourself in positions where you are able to almost magically attract money towards you. So in this first 4 days of May, the moon starts in your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength, and it ends in your second house of money. And that's really the left-hand side of your chart, and it has to do with the ascendant. And what I feel is at the beginning of May is that you get this real spiritual boost. And it says, be yourself, take care of yourself, accept the things that are imperfect, love yourself anyway, and then step into your power and make wonderful things happen. So as a Cancer, May looks amazing for you, especially in this first week, because you're willing to overlook your own flaws, and you're willing to start new connections from this angle of I am the king and the queen and I have arrived. And not necessarily bow down to me, but let me connect with other kings and queens and let's have a ball, let's have a dance. Week 2, Monday to Sunday, the 5th to the 11th of May. On the 5th, the moon is still in Leo, so the same thing applies. On the 6th, 7th, and 8th of May, the moon goes into Virgo, and it goes into your third house of communication, which is really interesting because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the communication planet, and Mercury rules 2 signs. It rules Gemini and Virgo. When Mercury is in Gemini, it's on the outward kind of position. I communicate, I problem solve, I find alternatives, I express myself, I write, I talk, I teach. When Mercury is in Virgo, an earth sign, it's about listening and assessing and making meaning and coming up with answers. And it's in your third house of communication during this 3-day period. So anything that you have not understood about yourself will become very clear to you, or anything where you've been self-sabotaging, or you haven't recognized your own power, or you've been showing up in a way which has been less than powerful, or less than attractive, or less than conducive to getting people around you and getting things done, and showing up as someone who has that kind of regal presence. You'll become very aware of it. Virgo can be a little guilty of being self-critical, but in this case, I don't think that's the case here. I think you recognize the way you show up, what your role is in certain things, and you're able to tweak things and adapt things very, very easily so that you put yourself in a position which is much more able to accomplish what it sets out to accomplish and what it wants to do. On the 6th and 7th of May, we have the Eta Aquarids meteor shower, which astrology is based on the northern hemisphere, but regardless of whether you're watching this in the northern or southern hemisphere, the energy is the same. This meteor shower is going to be best viewed in the southern hemisphere, so if you're down there, congrats on that. And it stems from the constellation of Aquarius. So it's an opportunity to see beyond the detail of things, and that's why I think it mitigates the critical nature of Virgo and the moon in Virgo in your third house of communication. And it's about thinking about what is best for humanity as a whole. And what I would also recommend during this meteor shower is that you make a wish for someone you know and love. So instead of wishing for yourself, oh, I wish to have a house on a hill and a Bentley where you can take the top down, and I want to be speeding down the motorway with the wind blowing in my hair. Instead of making wishes for yourself only, make a wish for someone that you like. It could be a friend of yours, it could be an acquaintance, it could be someone you met at the supermarket, and wish all good things for them and say, I hope you do find that love that we all deserve, or I hope you do have all of your own personal hopes and dreams come true. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to make wishes on each other's behalves and for things to get better for all of us as a result. Then on the 9th and 10th, the moon goes into Libra and it goes into your 4th house of your roots and your family and what makes you feel like you're home. So if you can, the 9th and 10th are a great couple of days to spend with your nearest and dearest, to really enjoy their company and to spend great family time without any conflict. On the 10th of May, Mercury, the communication planet, that ingresses into Taurus and it goes into your 12th house of hopes and dreams. And it's interesting because it joins your transiting midheaven, which represents work, your sun, which is the self you're aspiring to becoming, and Uranus, which is the planet of the miraculous and the unexpected. And they're also all in Taurus. So what's going to become very clear to you from the 10th of May onwards is, what is it that I want to accomplish when it comes to my career, the amount of money I want to make, and what I can do with that money. So maybe I want to be very eccentric and I want to have a house overlooking the seaside, but I want that house to be surrounded by pink gargoyles. And I want those pink gargoyles to sing the theme song to Alice in Wonderland. So it's threefold. It's you starting to think about, what is it that I want to accomplish work-wise and work that I care about. So if you're currently in work that you don't care about, it's first of all looking at, what kind of job would I like to do? Then what kind of money do I want to create? And then what do I want to do with that money? Do I want to use it for on behalf of other people and making their life better? Or do I want to do it to create some sort of fantasy for myself? And I don't think there's anything wrong with creating a fantasy for yourself, because other people would see that pink gargoyle house and would drive past it and it would put a smile on their face and it would say, the world isn't just fracking and despair and a new horrible scientific discovery. It can also be fun and whimsical and a laugh. On the 11th, the moon goes into Scorpio and it goes into your 5th house of what you love to do and who you love. And it remains there moving into week 3 on the 12th and 13th as well. So the moon is your feeling, your heart. In Scorpio, it's very psychic. It's very able to go beyond the surface of things and to get to the root cause of the matter. And it sits next to Black Moon Lilith, which is kind of its counterpoint. And it allows you to look at what you have been unwilling to see when it comes to how you show up in love. And it also shows you what you've been unwilling to consider when it comes to what you love to do in your working life. Vesta is at 9 degrees in Scorpio. What will be revealed to you on the 11th, 12th, and 13th is, this is what represents home to you. This is where you belong. This is the kind of work that's going to always pay off for you. And Juno is in there as well at 24 degrees in Scorpio. And it says, this is now your opportunity to correct yourself and to be willing to show up to things that you haven't even been able to entertain, or that you've refused to look at or even recognize as being genuine, real things. And it's also an opportunity for you to come home when it's about making money, doing the type of work that you want, and being happy with that whole process. That 5th house energy opposes all the other stuff that's going on in your 11th house in Taurus. So for you, Cancer, this is a month and not just here on the 11th and 12th and 13th of May. It's about recognizing that you have your own life, you have been given a life of your own, and that you're going to live that life, and that it may not look the way you imagined, or the way your parents wanted it to look, or the way your family approves of it looking. But it's a realization that you may be an eccentric. You may be someone who thinks differently. You may be someone who's attracted to circumstances and things and places and ways of using money that are unconventional. And it's about discovering that, embracing that, and saying, I'm different and unique, and that is fabulous and wonderful, and that's exactly the way it should be. So in week 2, the moon starts on the 5th in your second house of money, and it ends up on the 11th in your 5th house of what you love to do and who you love. So that's the bottom of your chart. So this second week is really about identifying what is home to me when it comes to work, who I love, and the way I show up in life. And whether I'm going to keep using affectations or pretending to be something I'm not, or whether I fully show up as myself. Week 3, Monday to Sunday, the 12th to the 18th of May. Speaking of that, I always find it so funny when there are people in the news who are in the news because women who don't shave their armpits. And it's just something that they don't want to do for maybe a week or two or something. And then the news picks it up and says, this woman's entire identity is that she does not shave her armpits. And that's who she becomes, the woman with the long armpit hair. I always find that so funny. We're not just one news story. We as people are several news stories. There are several things that we are and that we can use to define ourselves. Week 3, Monday to Sunday, the 12th to the 18th of August, not August, 12th to 18th of May. On the 12th and 13th, the moon is still in Scorpio, like I mentioned. On the 12th of May, particularly, we have the full moon in Scorpio. So that is an opportunity for you to Cancer, for you to meditate on the fact of what is it that I really want to do work-wise that will pay my bills, but that will also generate abundance in my life, and that will allow me to be the person I want to be and the person I imagine myself as, and the way I could see myself. The moon then moves into Sagittarius on the 14th and 15th, and it goes into your 6th house of daily routine and the structures of your life and your physical body and even your health. And these 2 days are great to get back in touch with your own body, and to do a little bit of exercise and to see how healthy you are, where your stamina is at. It's a good time to get in touch with your own routine, to say how much freedom do I have in my life? How much time do I spend working, giving to other people? How much time do I focus on myself? What is the gist of my everyday time spent? And also, what are the structures in my life that I have given most priority to, maybe even without knowing, maybe subconsciously? And where do I not support myself? Then on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, the moon goes into Capricorn, and it goes into your 7th house of relationships. And this is kind of funny because you may meet a few people who may be a little tiresome to you. You may have to go to events, or you may have to spend time with people who you find a little dull, or you find a little dishonest or tiresome or less than inspiring. And you may have to bite your tongue and to say, let me just get through this. How much longer? Best opportunity over this 3-day period is to look at the things about yourself that you've disavowed, the things that you don't like about yourself, and how you can either change those things or how you can accept them and put a party hat on them and celebrate them. Because all of us are boring, all of us are tedious at times, all of us are unattractive, all of us are also funny and interesting and remarkable. And we're all these different things. And for you, Cancer, I think your horoscope here in May is about recognizing that you are full of flavor, that you're not just one particular type of meal. You are an entree and a main and an afters as well. And that you give yourself a little bit of credit that you have room to grow in different areas, and that people who have a very short-sighted view of you are not your ideal friends, that it might be a better idea to surround yourself with people who see your potential and that you can do more than you're doing right now. So in week 3, the moon starts on the 12th in your 5th house of what you love and who you love. And then on the 18th, it ends up in your 7th. So that's the descendant. And really, the 3rd week is about you deciding, who do I love? Where are there spaces for me to love in my life? A particular type of person that doesn't exist in my life just yet. And how can I bring that person into my life? So where would I meet this person? Would it be doing a particular type of exercise, or maybe at a chess club, or doing CrossFit? How I have now discovered that I have space for another wonderful influence in my life, ideally via another person, and I'm willing and open to bring that person in. It's time for them to land and to arrive in my life. Week 4, which really isn't a week at all, it's 13 days, so it's pretty much the second half of the month. Monday to Saturday, the 19th to the 31st of May. On the 19th and 20th, the moon is going to be in Aquarius in your 8th house of institutions and authorities. And what we also have in there is Pluto and Pallas. And these 2 days are best to deal with any officialdom, red tape, visa applications, legal matters, mediations, counseling, dealing with HR, anything like that. You'll have a good outcome by trying to schedule them in during this time. On the 20th of May, we have the sun going into Gemini, and it goes into your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength. And at this point of the month, we now have the part of fortune in there and Jupiter. And the amazing thing is that you, Cancer, in May are the Mad Hatter. Spirit has decided to descend on you and to show you that you are a multifaceted, wonderful, interesting individual, and that it's time to throw yourself a party for being so special and for being so wonderful. On the 21st and 22nd, the moon goes into Pisces, and it joins Saturn and the North Node in Pisces in your 9th house of travel, education, and the higher realms. The North Node in a natal chart, that shows me your life purpose, what you're trying to accomplish, right? In this case, we have Saturn, which is what you're certain of, in Pisces, the North Node in Pisces, and the Moon, your heart, in Pisces. And again, this is an opportunity to travel as such, whether actual travel or to travel symbolically, nearer to the place of where you belong, where you reside in spiritual truth, and what that looks like. So maybe do a self-portrait, please. Even if you're not an artist, Cancer, try and paint yourself as you are, not in your body, but as you exist in your spiritual body. I'd like you to hold up a mirror to how you exist and appear on planet Earth, and how you appear in the realms of fantasy and in the realms of dream. On the 23rd and 24th, the moon goes into Aries, and this is a 2-day period where you can get an immense amount done when it comes to your work and to your career. We have Neptune in there, we have Venus and Chiron, they're all in Aries. One, you can realize one of your hopes and dreams when it comes to career. So this is a 2-day period where you can present to get funding for your own business. It's also simply a day where you can show up to your existing job and get things done very quickly, where usually it would take you much longer. If there's been uncertainty around what it is you do for your work and how that defines you or who that makes you, this is a 2-day period where you can come up with a job title for yourself that fits. So to identify who you are in your work and to be incredibly productive. On the 24th, Saturn enters Aries. So it joins all those planets that I just mentioned, Neptune and Venus and Chiron and the moon. And Saturn is what you're really certain of. It's your spiritual foundation and structure. And that goes into Aries, and it stays in Aries until September. So Cancer, I have good news for you. I have the news for you that from the 24th of May until September, even though I've been talking about you being so whimsical and the Mad Hatter, from now until September, you're going to be able to achieve incredible things in your working life. You'll be able to build new businesses. You'll be able to get a lot done. You'll be able to find ways of pushing through obstacles where before there was no chance. So that could be selling a product in a different country, whereas before there was no way of doing that. So you're really a force to be reckoned with now from the 24th when it comes to your career. On the 25th and 26th, the moon goes into Taurus. That goes into your 11th house of hopes and dreams, and it joins Uranus and Mercury in Taurus. And this will show you, again, what you could do when you realize your hopes and dreams, particularly in your working life, and how that could have a much wider impact on the world at large because of what you were going to do with that money or with that public forum. Like, let's say you found a way of tapping into a particular subject matter that was incredibly popular online, and you create 2 million followers on Instagram in a month. You would then discover what you can do with that 2 million platform on the 25th and 26th, and how you can use that to your advantage, but also to the advantage of the people around you, and also how that would define you and your life. On the 25th of May, Mercury ingresses into Gemini. It goes into your 12th house of spirituality, joins the transiting midheaven, the Sun, and Jupiter. So again, you get downloads from Spirit as far as your ultimate mission is concerned for your life, not just through work, but really you get a very important message that says your life, a part of it is about this, whether it's helping animals or it's about taking care of your own children and experiencing motherhood or fatherhood, or being at the peak of business, whatever it may be. So Cancer, for you, this is a an eye-opening month of realization that you're not just this itty-bitty little thing that means nothing, that you're this huge entity that has so much meaning associated with it, whether you choose to have it or not. And I think that's important. The 27th and 28th, the moon goes into Gemini. So more downloads, more information, especially on the 27th of May when we have a new moon in Gemini. The moon is then pitch black. It pulls a lot of Gemini energy in order to start its next 28-day cycle. And it happens in your 12th house. And it shows you different ways forward, different options for your future, not just in May and in June, but in this year and the year beyond that. So you're the visionary of your own life, or you're the visionary of the zodiac charts I've looked at so far, and you can really have a much greater insight into what you could transform yourself into with a bit of thought and creativity. On the 29th and 30th, the moon goes back into your sign of Cancer. So again, on top of Hades, what can I let go of? How can I take care of myself? And maybe here at the end of the month, how can I just ease into my new identity and just chill? Maybe have a day on the sofa reading something that takes my mind off how fabulous and wonderful and interesting I am. Finally, on the 31st, we have the moon in Leo. That goes into your second house of money. Again, fundraising, getting investments, making speeches in work, but also as a consultant, going in and out of different businesses, getting attention. If you want to create a social media presence, to launch a Snapchat or a Twitter or a YouTube or a Blue Sky account, to actually launch it and to start producing your content in order to get the attention. On the 31st, Venus is at its greatest western elongation. So you're going to be able to look for the planet. It's going to be very bright in the eastern sky just before sunrise. And Venus is the planet of giving birth to things, right? And you are giving birth to a new you here in May. So look to Venus at the very end of May to inspire you, and have a little word with it and wink at it and say, you and me, baby, we are creating this magical presence here on planet Earth that no one can ignore, because it is fascinating and it's all stems from me and it's original. Like ginger. Once you've tasted ginger, you will know that ginger is a particular type of spice that is unique. And you are human ginger, and you will not forget that. Let's see. Final week. The moon starts in your 8th house and it ends up in your 2nd house. So that's pretty much the northwestern side of your chart. I would say that's really the direction of my hopes and dreams and where they're heading. And I figure that out and I get a clearer idea of what I want my life to mean. Not necessarily what I want to be remembered for, but what I want my life to mean. Wow, this video is long and they're all so long. I'm sorry, but there's a lot to discuss here in May. I hope I don't bore you. Usually the videos are the best at 20 minutes, so I'm gonna have to figure it out. I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with here in May. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via the website gregoryscott.com. To draw up your birth chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, I can use sunrise, just fine. But if you want it to be really accurate, then get a chart rectification, which means that you send me 10 or more significant life events. I work out your exact time of birth, and then I have your accurate ascendant and your accurate house placements. Then it shows me your life purpose, vocational aptitudes, friendships, health, travel, education. To look at what's coming up in future, I look at your progress chart, your transits. Around your birthday, I draw up a solar return chart, and to see which parts of the world will work for you and which parts of the world will influence you in a particular way, I look at the astrocartography. So if you're interested in any of that, then please do get in touch via the website, gregoryscott.com. Have an amazing day, and before I forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please, so it shows up in the algorithm. Subscribe for more videos in future. I also do videos on new moons, the full moons, and I do a daily tarot reading on this channel. Please join the channel, become a member to watch those. And share the video with someone you like so that I get to grow this channel, which is the plan. Have a wonderful May, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.